Bio ICC 2017. Question number 1. Name the following: the process by which root hairs absorb water from the soil, osmosis. The organ that produces urea, liver. The kind of lens required to correct myopia, concave lens. The pituitary hormone that stimulates contraction of uterus during childbirth, oxytocin. The International Health Organization which educates people in accident prevention, রেড ক্রস, এটা লেখা আছে কিন্তু এটা কেন কাটা আছে আনসারটা জানি না। দ্য প্রাইম সোর্স অফ ক্লোরোফ্লুরোকার্বনস, রেফ্রিজারেশন ইকুইপমেন্টস। Next, penicillium obtained from a fungus, antibiotic. Marine fish, when placed in tap water, bursts because of endosmosis. Surgical method of sterilization in women involves cutting and tying of the oviduct. Synthesis phase in the cell cycle is called so because of the synthesis of more DNA. The Graafian follicle after the ovulation turns into hormone producing tissue called corpus luteum. Next question. Deafness is caused due to the rupturing of eardrum. Gyri and sulci are folds of cerebrum, sorry. Gyri and sulci are folds of cerebrum. Next question. Free movement of solutes in and out of the cell takes place across the dash cell wall. The solvent used to dissolve the chlorophyll pigments while testing a leaf for starch is called methylated spirit or alcohol. Next, write incorrect order. Platelets, thromboplastin, thrombin, fibrinogen, fibrin. Pinna, next, pinna, Melius, Inca, stapes, cochlea. Next, number 3, receptor, sensory neuron, spinal cord, motor neuron, effector. Number 4, fertilization, uterus, implantation, gestation, parturition. Number 5, green leaves, capillary, frog, snake, owl. Next, select the odd one out. Aqueous humor, vitreous humor, iris, central canal. Odd one out is central canal since aqueous humor, vitreous humor, iris are parts of human eye while central canal is a part of spinal cord. Next question. Formalin, iodine, DDT, lime. Odd one out is iodine since formalin, DDT and lime are toxoids. Iodine is an antiseptic. Next question. ACTH, TSH, ADH, FSH. ACTH, answer. ACTH, TSH, FSH are secreted by anterior lobe of pituitary gland while ADH is secreted by posterior lobe of pituitary gland. Next question. Iodine is required for the synthesis of thyroxine. Next, odd one out, ADH, since it is secreted by posterior lobe of pituitary gland, while ACTH, TSH, FSH are secreted by anterior lobe. Next question. Or next note বলে একটা লেখা আছে follicle stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, somatotropin, are prolactin, thyrotropin are secreted by anterior lobe of pituitary gland, whereas oxytocin, vasopressin, a anti-diuretic hormone are secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Only melanocyte stimulating hormone is secreted by the middle lobe. Next question. Phosphate, RNA, sugar, nitrogen base. এটার মধ্যে odd one out হচ্ছে RNA. Since RNA is a genetic material, whereas phosphate, RNA, sugar, nitrogenous base are parts of genetic material. Next question. Bile, urea, uric acid, ammonia এর মধ্যে কোনটা odd one out? এর আগেরটা ছিল ফসফেট, আরএনএ, সুগার, নাইট্রোজেনিয়াস বেস। এর মধ্যে অড ওয়ান আউট হচ্ছে আরএনএ ছিল, কারণ আরএনএ ইজ আ জেনেটিক মেটেরিয়াল, ভ্যারাস ফসফেট, আরএনএ, সুগার, এখানে আর আরএনএ কি করে হবে? ফসফেট, সুগার, নাইট্রোজেনিয়াস বেস আর পার্টস অফ জেনেটিক মেটেরিয়াল। নেক্সট কোয়েশ্চেন। বাইল, ইউরিয়া, ইউরিক অ্যাসিড, অ্যামোনিয়া এর মধ্যে কোনটা অড ওয়ান আউট? Odd one out is bile, since the major excretory products have to be removed from the body. Example, ammonia, urea, uric acid. Bile is a dark green, yellowish brown fluid produced by the liver but that aids the digestion. So, urea, uric acid, ammonia are excretory products, and bile is a digestive juice. Next question. Given below are groups of terms. In each group, the first pair indicates the relationship between the two terms. Rewrite and complete the second pair on a similar basis. Oxygen, inspiration, carbon dioxide, expiration. Inspiration, carbon dioxide, expiration. Oxygen, inspiration, carbon dioxide, expiration. Eye, optic nerve, ear, auditory nerve. Cytoplasm, cytokinesis, nucleus, karyokinesis. TT, মানে capital T, homozygous. Capital T, small t, heterozygous. Fetus, amnion, heart, pericardium. Adenine, thymine. Cytosine, guanine. Next, match the items given in column A with the most appropriate ones in column B and rewrite the correct matching pairs. Saculus, static balance, birth rate, natality, DNA and histones, nucleosome, Euronorms, vehicular standards, diabetes mellitus, hyperglycemia. The diagram below represents the location and structure of an endocrine gland. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Name the endocrine gland shown in the diagram. It is a thyroid gland. Name the secretion of gland which regulates basal metabolism. Thyroid gland secretes a hormone thyroxine that regulates basal metabolism. Name the mineral element required for the synthesis of the above mentioned hormone. Iodine is required for the synthesis of thyroxine. Name the disease caused due to undersecretion of the above mentioned hormone. Cretinism, dwarfism, and cretinism, dwarfism, and mentally retardation. এটার ব্র্যাকেটে লেখা আছে নেম দ্য ডিজিজ কজ ডিউ টু আন্ডার সিক্রেশন অফ দি অ্যাবাভ mentioned hormone. Cretinism, the dwarfism or mental retardation is caused by cretinism is caused by under secretion of thyroxine in children. Next, name the disease caused due to the hypersecretion of thyroxine. Hypersecretion of thyroxine causes exophthalmic goiter মানে protruded eyes ব্র্যাকেটে। এবার ছবি আছে একটা ওই সেল ডিভিশন নিয়ে। আইডেন্টিফাই দ্য স্টেজ গিভিং সুটেবল রিজনস। দ্য গিভেন স্টেজ ইজ টেলোফেজ। কেন টেলোফেজ? না টু সেটস অফ ডটার ক্রোমোজোমস রিচ অপোজিট পোলস, নিউক্লিয়ার মেমব্রেন is formed and the cleavage furrow starts deepening in the animal cells. নেক্সট এবার বোধহয় নেম দ্য পার্টস নাম্বার্ড 1 and 2। ওয়ানটা হচ্ছে ক্রোম্যাটিড, টুটা হচ্ছে নিউক্লিয়ার মেমব্রেন। এবার হোয়াট ইজ দ্য টেকনিক্যাল টার্ম ফর দ্য ডিভিশন অফ নিউক্লিয়াস? দ্য ডিভিশন অফ নিউক্লিয়াস ইজ কল্ড karyokinesis. Next, mention the stage that comes before the stage shown in the diagram. Draw a neat label diagram of the stage mentioned. Anaphase comes before telophase stage. Next, which is the cell division that results in half the number of chromosome in daughter cells? Okay, which is the cell division that results in half the number of chromosomes in daughter cells? Answer ही नहीं। Oh, meiotic cell division results in half the number of chromosomes in daughter cells. এবার next question, differentiate between the following pairs on the basis of what is mentioned in the bracket. Active transport or diffusion. Significance in plant cell. In active transport, the substance or ions pass through the cell membrane from its lower concentration to higher concentration using energy from the cell. Diffusion allows the movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration without using any energy from the cell. Next, demography is the statistical study of human population. Population density is the number of individuals per square kilometer at any given time. Demography is the statistical study of human population. Human density is the number of individuals per square kilometer at a time. Next question. Antibiotics like penicillin are produced from some fungi মানে molds, while antibodies are special chemicals found in the blood. External sources of antibodies are the blood of horse, rabbits, etc. Next, renal cortex or renal medulla. Renal cortex consists of cup-shaped body of nephrons called Bowman's capsule and proximal convoluted tubule, while renal medulla consists of Henle's loop. তাহলে active transport diffusion এর difference in active transport, the substance or ions pass through the cell membrane from its lower concentration to higher concentration using energy from the cell. Diffusion allows the movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration without using any energy from the cell. Next is demography and population density difference. Demography is the statistical study of human population. Our population density is the number of individuals per square kilometer at a given time. Next, antibiotics and antibodies are different. Antibiotics like penicillin are produced from some fungi, mane molds, while antibodies are special chemicals found in the blood. External sources of antibodies are the blood of horse, rabbits, etc. Next, renal cortex or renal medulla difference. Renal cortex consists of cup-shaped body of nephrons called Bowman's capsule and proximal convoluted tubule, while renal medulla consists of loop of Henle. Next, NADP, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, or ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Next, the diagram given below represents a plant cell after being placed in a strong sugar solution. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. What is the state of the cell shown above? The state is called plasmolysis of flaccidity. Name the structure that acts as a selectively semi-permeable membrane. Plasma membrane acts as a semi-permeable membrane. Next, label the parts in the diagram. Cell wall, space filled with solutions, cell membrane, nucleus. How can the above cell be brought back to its original condition? Mention the scientific term for the recovery of the cells. When we put the cell back into water, the protoplasm again swells up. The recovery of the cell back to its original condition is called deplasmolysis. State any two features of the plant cell which is not present in animal cell. Cell wall, chloroplast, plastids are present in cell wall. Cell wall. যাই হোক, given below is the diagram of noise pollution. Name the noise pollution. List any, name the pollution. It is noise pollution. List any three sources of pollution. Loudspeakers and musical bands in public places, loud sound of firecrackers আর industrial machines, এগুলো হচ্ছে sources of noise pollution. Mention three harmful effects of this pollution on human health. Prolonged noise leads to deafness. Noise pollution causes sleep disturbances. Noise pollution interrupts our concentration. Next, define pollutant. Pollutant is a harmful constituent to air, water, or soil that deteriorates the natural quality of that resource and environment. Next question, name two soil pollutants: chemical fertilizers and industrial waste. Next, the diagram given below represents the relationship between a mouse and a psychological process that occurs. State any two features. Diagram given below relationship between a mouse and a psychological process, physiological process that occurs in green plants. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. Name the physiological process occurring in the green plant that has kept the mouse alive. Uh, the physiological processes. Photosynthesis. Explain the physiological process mentioned above. Photosynthesis is the process by which living plant cells containing chlorophyll produce food substances from carbon dioxide and water by using light energy. Plants release oxygen as a waste product during photosynthesis. Next, why did the mouse die in bell jar B? There was no supply of oxygen for respiration, so the mouse died. Ever, what is the significance of the process as stated in for life on Earth? Significance of photosynthesis for life on Earth. Photosynthesis is ultimately the source of energy and food for all living beings, directly for plants and indirectly for animals. Photosynthesis is the only biological process which releases oxygen into the atmosphere. This oxygen supports all life forms on Earth. Next, chemical equation of photosynthesis: 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2. Mention the exact location of the following. Prostate gland. Prostate gland surrounds the urethra close to its origin from bladder in human males. Myelin sheath surrounds the actions of most of the vertebrate and some invertebrate neurons. Islet of Langerhans are found in pancreas. Semicircular canals are found in the inner ear, arranged at right angles to each other. Eustachian tube connects the middle ear to the back of the throat, that is pharynx. It equalizes air pressure on each side of the eardrum. Ever question number 5. The diagram shown below is the longitudinal section of a testes of man. Study it carefully and answer the questions that follow. Uh, uh, Label the parts numbered 1 to 3. 1 scrotum, 2 sperm duct বা vas deferens, আর 3 হচ্ছে epididymis. Next, in which part of the testes are the sperms produced? In seminiferous tubules, sperms are produced. State the function of the parts labeled 1 and 3 in the diagram. Scrotum provides a separate sac suspended from the body. It provides suitable temperature to the testes for producing sperms. Our number 3, epididymis, stores the sperms for some days during which they mature and become mobile. Name the cells that secrete testosterone. The intestinal cells of testes secrete testosterone. Draw a neat label diagram of a sperm. ড্র করেছে এবার give the biological reasons for the following statement. Some women have facial hair like beard and mustache. If there is an overgrowth of adrenal cortex that releases certain cortical hormones in a mature woman, she develops certain male characteristics such as beard, mustache, and deep voice. Next questions. Trees reduce the air pollution and their roots hold the soil that reduce soil erosion. Cutting of trees should be discouraged. Canona trees reduce air pollution and their roots hold the soil thus reduce soil erosion. They also maintain the level of underground water. Also, trees produce oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. So, cutting of trees should be discouraged. Next question. In some xerophytes, leaves are modified into spines. A reason. In some xerophytes like cacti, the leaves are modified into spines to reduce the exposed surface in order to reduce transpiration and thus prevent the loss of water. Next, there is frequent urination in winter than in summer. In summer, we lose a considerable part of water through perspiration, but in winter, due to no perspiration or less perspiration, we urinate frequently. Next question. The left ventricle of heart has a thicker wall than right ventricle. The left ventricle of heart has thicker wall because ventricles have to pump blood to long distances. The left ventricle pumps blood into the farthest points in the body, like up to the brain and up to the toes, whereas right ventricle only has to pump blood to the lungs. Which part of the heart are in diastolic phase? Ventricles are in diastolic phase. It is because the heart muscles relax and ventricles keep dash with blood. Ventricles are in diabetes because heart muscle relax and the ventricles keep flow with blood নাকি যাই হোক পালমোনারি আর্টারি ইট ক্যারিজ অক্সিজেনেটেড ব্লাড টু দ্য লাংস ফর অক্সিজেশন এই যে একটা লেবেল দ্য পার্টস 1 and 2 in the diagram. What type of blood flows through them? পালমোনারি আর্টারি ইট ক্যারিজ একটা দুটো লেভেল করতে দেওয়া আছে একটা পালমোনারি আর্টারি একটা পালমোনারি ভেইন পালমোনারি আর্টারি ক্যারিজ অক্সিজেনেটেড ব্লাড টু দ্য লাংস ফর অক্সিজেনেশন আর পালমোনারি ভেইনস ক্যারি অক্সিজেনেটেড ব্লাড ফ্রম লেফট লাং টু লেফট আর্ট্রিয়াম. Next, question number 3. What causes the heart sound lub and dub? Lub is produced when the tricuspid valves goes closed at the start of এটা সব কেটে গেছে at the start of ventricular systole. The sound laugh is produced when at the beginning of ventricular diastole, the semilunar valves at the roots of aorta and pulmonary artery get closed. Coronary arteries supply oxygenated blood to the heart muscles. Next question. State the functions of vas differentia. State the functions of vas differentia. It carries the sperms out of the urethra. Tubules where sperm are produced are called seminiferous tubules. Epididymis stores sperms. Vas difference carries sperms out of the urethra. Give appropriate biological or technical terms for the following. The type of immunity that exists in a body due to a genetic makeup. Innate immunity. The suppressed allele of a gene. Recessive gene. The accessory gland in human males whose secretion activates the sperms. Seminal vesicle. The accessory gland in human males whose secretion activates the sperms. Seminal vesicle, an apparatus that measures the rate of water uptake in a cut shoot due to transpiration. Uh, Potometer, the kind of twins formed from two fertilized eggs. Fraternal twins, a pair of corresponding chromosomes of the same size and shape, one from each parent. T Tetrads, Tetrads, tetrads. The mild chemical substance which, when applied on the body, kills germs. Antiseptic. The type of waste generated in hospitals and pathological laboratories. Biomedical waste. The antiseptic substance in tears. Lacrimal fluid, যেটাকে বলে lysozyme. Next, the cellular component of blood containing hemoglobin, RBC. Next, in a homozygous pea plant, axial flowers are dominant over terminal flowers. What is the phenotype and genotype of F1 generation if a plant bearing pure axial flowers is crossed with a plant bearing pure terminal flowers? পিওর অ্যাক্সিয়াল ফ্লাওয়ার্স আর পিওর টার্মিনাল ফ্লাওয়ার্স, এটাকে সেই সব করে গ্যামেটস, অফস্প্রিং, জেনোটাইপ, ফেনোটাইপ এইসব করে লিখেছে। ফেনোটাইপিক রেশিও 3:1, জেনোটাইপিক রেশিও 1:2:1 এরকম করে। এবার মেন্ডেলস ল অফ ডমিনেন্স। আউট অফ আ পেয়ার অফ কন্ট্রাস্টিং ক্যারেক্টার্স প্রেজেন্ট টুগেদার, one is able to express only one is able to express itself while the other remains suppressed. The character that expresses itself is called dominant character, while the suppressed is called recessive character. Next question. Name two genetic disorders commonly seen in human males: color blindness and hemophilia. এবার একটা diagram দিয়েছে, diagram given below is an external view of human beings. Study the same and answer the questions that follow. Name the parts labeled A, B, C in the diagram. A, cerebrum; B, cerebellum; C, medulla oblongata. Cerebrum is the seat of intelligence, consciousness and willpower. It controls all the voluntary actions. Cerebellum maintains balance of the body and coordinates muscular activity. Number three, stay. What are the structural and functional units of brain? How are the parts of this unit arranged in A and C? Nerve cells or neurons are the structural and functional units of brain. In cerebrum, 12 pairs of cranial nerves emerge from the brain. In medulla oblongata, 31 pairs of spinal nerves emerge from spinal cord. Number 4. Mention the collective term for the membranes covering the brain. The three membranous covering of brain is collectively called meninges. Number 5. What is the function of cerebrospinal fluid? Cerebrospinal fluid acts like a cushion to protect the brain from shocks. The same fluid um, also fills the central space of the brain and central canal of spinal cord. এবার ওই একটা ছবি এঁকেছে আর্টারিয়ার ভেনের দুটোই এক্সটার্নাল লেয়ার কানেকটিভ মানে এক্সটার্নাল লেয়ারটাই কানেকটিভ টিস্যু এন্ডোথেলিয়াম লিউমেন মিডল লেয়ার দিয়ে আর্টারি ভেনের ছবি লিখেছে এবার আইসিসি 2016 এর পেপার ICC 2016. Name the following. The exchange of chromatid parts between the maternal and paternal chromatids of a pair of homologous chromosomes during meiosis. এটাকে বলে crossing over. The number of individuals inhibiting per unit area, population density. The immunity acquired by providing ready-made antibiotics from outside for treating certain infectious diseases, passive immunity. Next, the pollutants that cannot be broken down to simple and harmless product, non-biodegradable pollutants. Next, the part of the brain that carries impulses from one hemisphere of the cerebrum to the other, corpus callosum. Ever fill in the blanks. A plant cell may burst when target pressure exceeds wall pressure. The individual flattened stacks of membranous structures inside the chloroplast are known as thylakoids. The nephrons discharge their urine at renal pelvis. Gigantism and acromegaly are due to hypersecretion of growth hormone. Next, the mineral iron needed for the formation of blood clot is calcium. Next, the odd one out. Sewage, newspaper, styrofoam. Hey, styrofoam is the odd one out. Category biodegradable things. Next, thiamine, cytosine, adenine, pepsin. কোনটা odd one out? পেপসিন তার কারণ ক্যাটাগরি নাইট্রোজিনিয়াস বেসেস নেক্সট ম্যালিয়াস আইরিস টেপস ইনকাস অড ওয়ান আউট কি আইরিস ক্যাটাগরি টাইনি ইয়ার অসিকলস অফ দ্য মিডল ইয়ার Next, cortisone, somatotrophin, adrenocorticotropic hormone, vasopressin. Odd one out কি cortisone. কেন ক্যাটাগরি হরমোন সিক্রেটেড বাই পিটিউটারি গ্ল্যান্ড নেক্সট টাইফয়েড হিমোফিলিয়া অ্যালবিনিজম কালার ব্লাইন্ডনেস অড ওয়ান আউট কে টাইফয়েড ক্যাটাগরি জেনেটিক ডিসঅর্ডার Fill in the blanks. The amount of urine output is under the regulation of a hormone called antidiuretic hormone secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. If this hormone secretion is reduced, there is an increased production of uric acid. This disorder is called diabetes increased production of urine. He বলছে the amount of urine output is under the regulation of the hormone called antidiuretic hormone secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. If this hormone secretion is reduced, there is an increased production of urine. This disorder is called diabetes insipidus. Sometimes excess glucose is passed with the urine due to hyposecretion of another hormone called vasopressin, leading to the cause of a disease called diabetes mellitus. State the exact location of centromere. Centromere is found at a point where two chromatids of a centrosome join. Next, chordae tendineae connects the papillary muscles to the tricuspid and mitral valve in the heart. Next, thyroid gland, ciliary body, proximal convoluted tubule. এটা কি? A centromere is found at the place where two chromatids of a centrosome join. Chordae tendineae connect the papillary muscles to the tricuspid valve and mitral valve in the heart. Thyroid gland is situated in front of the neck just before the larynx. Ciliary body is found encircling the inner inside of eye behind the iris. Next, proximal convoluted tubule is the starting convoluted region of the tubule that is nearer to Bowman's capsule. Next, given below is the diagram depicting a defect of human eye. Study and answer the for questions that follow. Name the defect shown in the diagram: short sightedness or myopia. What are the two possible reasons that cause this defect? Elongation of eyeball from front to back. Name the type of lens used to correct this defect. The lens is too convex or curved. And name the type of lens. So what are the two possible reasons that cause this defect? Reason gulo ki the elongation of eyeball from front to back, or the lens is too convex or curved. A type of lens used to correct this defect ki cone lens, concave lens. Given in the box below are a set of 14 biological terms. Of this, 12 can be paired into 6 matching pairs. Out of the 6 pairs, one has been done for you as an example. একটা বক্সে আছে কাশিং সিনড্রোম, টার্জিট সেল, আইরিস এগুলো। এবার টার্জিট সেল এন্ডসমোসিস, আইরিস কালার অফ আইস, ব্লাইন্ড স্পট ফ্রি অফ রডস অ্যান্ড কোন সেলস, স্পারমেটোজোয়া অ্যাক্রোজোম, হাইপারগ্লাইসেমিয়া কাশিন্স syndrome, hypoglycemia Addison's disease. State the main functions of the following. Lymphocytes of blood. Lymphocytes of blood initiate an immune response when the foreign invader enters the body. এবার একটা কিছু কোয়েশ্চেন আছে যেটা দেখা যাচ্ছে না, লিম্ফোসাইটস অফ ব্লাড ইনিশিয়েট অ্যান ইমিউন রেসপন্স when a foreign invader enters the main functions of the following. ফাংশনগুলো কি কি না, lymphocyte of blood initiate an immune response when a foreign invader enters the body. Next, Leydig cells produce testosterone in presence of luteinizing hormone, LUTEINIZING, luteinizing hormone. Guard cells help to regulate the rate of transpiration by opening and closing the stomata. Eustachian tube ventilate the middle ear space, ensuring that its pressure remains at near normal environmental air pressure. Next, corpus luteum secretes the hormone progesterone to maintain the normal pregnancy in mammals. তাহলে কি লিম্ফোসাইট অফ ব্লাড ইনিশিয়েট অ্যান ইমিউন রেসপন্স when a foreign invader enters the body, এটা লিম্ফোসাইটের ফাংশন। লেইডিক সেল প্রডিউস টেস্টোস্টেরন ইন প্রেজেন্স অফ লিউটেনাইজিং হরমোন, এটা লেইডিক সেলের ফাংশন। গার্ড সেলের ফাংশন হেল্পস guard cell helps to regulate the rate of transpiration by opening and closing the stomata. Eustachian tuber function ventilate the middle ear space, ensuring that its pressure remains at near normal environmental air pressure. আর কর্পাস লিউটিয়ামের ফাংশন হচ্ছে সিক্রেটস দ্য হরমোন প্রোজেস্টেরন টু মেনটেন দ্য নর্মাল প্রেগন্যান্সি ইন মাম্মালস। এবার কয়েকটা একটা ছবি দিয়েছে, ক্রস সেকশন অফ রুট ইন রুট হেয়ার জোন, স্টাডি দ্য সেম অ্যান্ড আনসার দ্য কোয়েশ্চেন্স দ্যাট ফলো। নেম দ্য পার্টস ইন্ডিকেটেড ফ্রম 1 to 4। এটার আনসার তো নেই, এটা দেখতে হবে আনসার কোয়েশ্চেন নাম্বার 2 এর। নেক্সট কোয়েশ্চেন, ডিফারেন্সিয়েট বিটুইন দ্য ফলোইং পেয়ার্স অন দ্য বেসিস অফ হোয়াট ইজ মেনশন উইদিন দ্য ব্র্যাকেটস। হিউম্যান স্কিন সেল অ্যান্ড হিউম্যান ওভাম, এটার ডিফারেন্স কি? নাম্বার অফ ক্রোমোজোমস এর বেসিসে। Human skin cell has diploid number of chromosomes, that is 46 chromosome, 2x number of chromosomes. Human ovum has haploid number of chromosome, that is 23 chromosomes. এবার sperm duct and fallopian tube এদের function কি? Sperm duct carry the sperms from testes to urethra. Fallopian tube এর function কি? Fallopian tubes convey the eggs released from ovary, মানে fertilization takes place। এগুলো সবই কিন্তু কন্ডিশন দিয়ে দিয়েছে, স্পার্ম ডাক্ট আর ফ্যালোপিয়ান টিউবের ফাংশনের উপর লিখতে বলেছে ডিফারেন্স। এবার রেড ক্রস অ্যান্ড হু এর অ্যাক্টিভিটি, ওয়ান অ্যাক্টিভিটি নিয়ে লিখতে বলেছে। রেড ক্রস হু, রেড ক্রস হেল্পস দ্য ভিকটিম অফ এনি ক্যালামিটি, ফ্লাড, ফায়ার, ফেমিন, earthquake, etc. Who collects and supply information about the occurrence of disease of epidemic nature. এবার রে রে রড সেলস আর কোন সেলস এর ডিফারেন্স? রড সেলস কন্টেইন দ্য পিগমেন্টস রোডোপসিন, কোন সেলস কন্টেইন দ্য পিগমেন্টস আয়োডোপসিন। এবার লাভ আর ডাপের ডিফারেন্স লিখতে বলেছে। লাভ হচ্ছে নেমস অফ ভালভস হুজ ক্লোজার প্রডিউস দ্য সাউন্ড, অ্যাট্রিওভেন্ট্রিকুলার ভালভস। আর ডাপ হচ্ছে অ্যাওর্টিক অ্যান্ড পালমোনারি ভালভস। লাভ হচ্ছে অ্যাট্রিওভেন্ট্রিকুলার ভালভস আর ডাপ হচ্ছে অ্যাওর্টিক অ্যান্ড পালমোনারি ভালভস। এবার given below is the outline of human body showing the important glands. Name the glands marked from 1 to 4. Pituitary gland, thyroid gland, pancreas, adrenal gland. Name the hormone secreted by part 2 মানে thyroid gland. Thyroxine and calcitonin. Thyroxine controls tissue metabolism and growth. Name the hormone secreted by part 2 মানে thyroid gland কোন হরমোন সিক্রেট করে? Thyroxine and calcitonin. Thyroxine controls tissue metabolism and growth. Next, pancreas. Pancreas, name the endocrine part of part number 3. নাম্বার 3 কি করে? আইলেট কি? নেম দ্য এন্ডোক্রাইন পার্ট অফ দ্য পার্ট নাম্বার 3, islet of Langerhans. What is the part labeled 1 and called the master gland? Which part of forebrain controls the gland labeled 1? Pituitary gland is called master gland because it seems to control practically all the other endocrine glands. Pituitary gland is controlled by hypothalamus. Name the gland that secretes the emergency hormone, adrenal gland. এবার কোয়েশ্চেন নাম্বার 5, এটার বোধহয় রুট হেয়ার, সলিড পার্টিকেলস, জাইলেম ভেসেলস, কর্টেক্স, এগুলো সব হচ্ছে দিয়ে দেওয়া আছে, বোধহয় লেবেল করতে দেওয়া আছে। গাটেশন, এইটার বোধহয় এটা আনসার। এই যে ক্রস সেকশন অফ রুট হেয়ার, এর আগে যেটা পেলাম না, না নেম দ্য পার্টস indicated in the guidelines 1 to 4, root hair, solid particles, xylem vessels, cortex. এবার which is the process that enables the passage of water from soil into the root hair? Osmosis. Name the pressure that is responsible for the movement of water in the diagram direction indicated by the arrows. Define it. Root pressure, এটা হচ্ছে pressure that is responsible for the movement of water in the direction indicated by arrows. Define it. Root pressure. But due to an excess of this pressure, sometimes drops of water are found along the leaf margins of some plants, especially in the early mornings. What is the phenomena called? Guttation. এবার একটা level diagram of root hair cell as it would appear if an excess of fertilizer is added to a soil close to it. এটা একটা ডায়াগ্রামই করতে হবে। এবার next question. The diagram of an apparatus given below demonstrates a particular process in plants. Study the same and answer the following questions. Name the apparatus. Gannon's protometer. Which phenomena is demonstrated by the process? Transpiration. Explain the phenomena mentioned. Transpiration is the evaporation of water from aerial part of plants. এবার what is the importance of what is the importance of air bubble in the experiment? Since protometer does not measure water loss during transpiration but measures the water uptake by cut shoot with the help of air bubble in capillary tube, the difference in reading of air bubble in the initial stage and at the end gives the actual amount of transpired water. Ever name the structure in a plant through which the above process takes place, leaves and stem. তাহলে অ্যাপারেটাসটার নাম কি? গ্যানং স্পোটোমিটার। Which phenomenon is demonstrated by the process? Transpiration. Name the phenomena mentioned in above. Transpiration is the evaporation of water from alien parts of the plant, and এটা phenomena হচ্ছে transpiration. এবার explain, আচ্ছা, state two limitations of using this apparatus. Introducing the air bubble is a difficult task. এটা একটা limitation. আর the plant twig may not remain fully alive for a long time. এটা একটা limitation. আর importance of air bubble in the experiment. Since photometer does not measure the water loss during transpiration but measures the water uptake by cut shoot with the help of air bubble in the capillary tube. The difference in the readings of air bubbles and in the initial stage and at the end gives the actual amount of transpired water. Next, name the structures in a plant through which the above process takes place: leaves and stem. Next, draw a well-leveled diagram of the membranous labyrinth found in the inner ear. মেমব্রেনাস ল্যাবিরিন্থের ছবি একটা আঁকতে বলেছে, তাতে অ্যান্টেরিয়ার, ল্যাটারাল, পোস্টেরিয়ার এর ছবি, সেমি সার্কুলার ক্যানেলের ছবি, ইউট্রিকেলের ছবি, স্যাকিউয়েলের ছবি আর ককলিয়ার ছবি। মানে পাঁচটা জিনিসকে লেবেল করেছে: অ্যান্টেরিয়ার, ল্যাটারাল, পোস্টেরিয়ার, ককলিয়া, সেমি সার্কুলার ক্যানেল, ইউট্রিকেল আর স্যাকিউয়েল। Next, based on the diagram drawn above in 1, give a suitable term for each of the following descriptions. The sensory cell that helps in hearing, organ of Corti. The part that is responsible for static balance of the body, uticulus and sacculus. The membrane covered opening that connects the middle ear to inner ear, oval window. The membranes covered opening that connects the middle ear to inner ear, oval window. The fluid present in middle chamber of cochlea, endolymph. The structure that maintains dynamic equilibrium of the body, semicircular canals. State the biological or technical term of the following: complete stoppage of menstrual cycle in females, menopause. Pigment providing color to urine, urochrome. The vein which drains the blood from intestine to the liver, hepatic portal vein. The canal through which the testes descend into scrotum just before the birth of a male baby. Uh, Inguinal canal. The process causing an undesirable change in the environment, pollution, the removal of nitrogenous waste from the body, excretion, the repeating components of each DNA stand lengthwise, nucleotides, mane phosphate and sugar, an alteration in the genetic material that can be inherited, allele. The process of uptake of mineral ions against the concentration gradient using energy from the cell, active transport, blood vessels carrying blood to the left atrium, pulmonary vein. নেক্সট একটা ছবি আছে, আইডেন্টিফাই দ্য স্টেজ, আর স্টেজটা হচ্ছে লেট প্রোফেজ অফ মাইটোসিস। ড্র আ নিট লেভেল ডায়াগ্রাম অফ দ্য সেল অ্যাজ ইট উড অ্যাপিয়ার ইন দ্য নেক্সট স্টেজ। নেম দ্য স্টেজ। মেটাফেজ অফ মাইটোসিস কি বলছে? আইডেন্টিফাই দ্য স্টেজ, গিভ আ রিজন টু সাপোর্ট ইউর আনসার। স্টেজটা হচ্ছে লেট প্রোফেজ অফ মাইটোসিস। এটা কেন লেট প্রোফেজ? তার কারণ ক্রোমোজোমস আর ডুপ্লিকেটেড অ্যাজ পেয়ার্ড ক্রোম্যাটিডস অ্যান্ড নিউক্লিয়ার মেমব্রেন ইজ ডিসঅ্যাপিয়ারিং। এবার মেটাফেজ অফ মাইটোসিস বলছে এইটাকে, এই যে name the stage metaphase of mitosis in what two ways is mitotic division in an animal cell different from mitotic division in plant cell? Mitosis in animal cell and mitosis in plant cell difference. Asters are formed, mitosis in animal cell, mitosis in plant cell. Spindle formation takes place through microtubules. Ever mitosis in animal cells. Cytokinesis is centripetal type. Mitosis in plant cells. Cytokinesis is centrifugal type. Next, name the type of cell division that occurs during growth of shoot. Mitotic division. Formation or next, name the type of cell division that occurs during formation of pollen grains. Meiotic division. Give scientific reason for the following statements. Color blindness is more common in men than in women. Cano. Recessive gene of color blindness occurs on X chromosome and expressed in males only. So color blindness is more common in men. Injury to medulla oblongata leads to death. Medulla oblongata controls the activities of internal organs like peristaltic movement of alimentary canal, movement of breathing, breathing of heart, and many other involuntary actions. So, injury in this part may lead to death. Next, when an ovum gets fertilized, menstrual cycle stops temporarily in a woman. When an ovum gets fertilized, it gets implanted in the uterus wall and there is no menstrual discharge. This is because the level of hormone progesterone is increased and it prevents maturation of another follicle from for some months. When an ovum gets fertilized, it gets implanted in the uterus wall and there is no menstrual discharge. This is because the level of hormone progesterone is increased and it prevents maturation of another follicle for some months. Next question. Mature erythrocytes in humans lack nucleus and mitochondria. Mature erythrocytes in humans lack nucleus to get biconcave shape, which increases the surface volume for more oxygen and absorption. They have no mitochondria, so they transport all the oxygen to the tissues without any loss. Next question. Blood flows in arteries in spurts and is under pressure. Such since arteries have narrower lumen, they carry the blood with jerks and under great pressure. Next, label the parts numbered 1 to 3 in the diagram. Umbilical cord, placenta, amniotic fluid. Mention the two functions of the part labeled 2 in the diagram. The placenta allows diffusion of oxygen and fluid nutrients from mother to fetus. It allows placenta allows elimination of carbon dioxide and urea from fetus to mother. Placenta allows diffusion of oxygen and food nutrients from mother to fetus. Our placenta allows elimination of carbon dioxide and urea from fetus to mother. Next, explain the significance of part numbered 3 in the diagram. Amniotic fluid fills the space between the amnion and embryo, thus protects the embryo from physical damage by jerks or shocks. It also prevents sticking of fetus to the amnion and allows some restricted movement. Define the term gestation. What is the normal gestational period of the developing human embryo? The full term of development of an embryo is in the uterus is called gestation. The normal gestation period of the developing human embryo is 280 days. Mention the sex chromosome in male and female embryo. Male embryo XY, female embryo XX. Next, the following diagram demonstrates a physiological physiological process taking place in green plants. The whole step was placed in bright sunlight for several hours. Study the diagram and answer the questions that follow. What aspect of physiological process is being um, examined? Oxygen is given out during photosynthesis. Define the physiological process mentioned by it. The process by which green plants prepare their own food during using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll is called photosynthesis. The plants release oxygen as a result. Next, label the parts numbered 1 and 2 in the diagram. Part 1 is oxygen, 2 is hydrilla plant twigs. Next, write a well balanced chemical equation for the physiological process. এটা হচ্ছে photosynthesis. 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2. C plus 6O2 plus 12 6H2O. What would happen to the rate of bubbling of the gas if a pinch of sodium bicarbonate is added? Explain your answer. If a pinch of sodium bicarbonate is added to the water in the beaker, the rate of bubbling water gas will increase. The sodium bicarbonate on dissolving in water gives air bubbles. Now, question number 7. A homologous tall plant bearing red flowers is crossed with a homozygous dwarf plant bearing white flowers. Give the genotype and phenotype of the plants of F1 generation. Genotype of F1 generation হচ্ছে heterozygous tall plant with red flowers. Our phenotype of F1 generation tall plants with red flowers. Mention the possible combination of gametes that can be obtained from F1 hybrid plant. Capital T, capital R, small r, capital T, small t, capital R. Done on my own বলে লিখেছে. State the Mendel's law of independent assortment. When there are two pairs of contrasting characters, the distribution of members of one pair into the gametes is independent of the distribution of another pair. Next, mention the phenotypes of the offspring obtained in F2 generation. Tall and red, tall and white, dwarf and red, dwarf and white. What is the phenotypic ratio obtained in F2 generation? 9 is to 3, 3 is to 1. Explain the following terms. Reflex action. Reflex action is an automatic, quick, and involuntary action in the body brought about by a stimulus. Reflexes are of two types: natural reflexes and conditioned reflexes. Blinking, coughing, sneezing, salivation, etc. are natural reflexes, while acquired reflexes are conditioned reflexes. Next, power of accommodation. The process by which ciliary muscles change the focal length of an eye lens to focus at distant or near objects clearly on the retina is called power of accommodation. এবার ফটো ফসফোরিলেশন এটা কি? The conversion of physical energy of light into chemical energy by the chloroplast. এবার হরমোন কি? হরমোন is a secretion from some glandular part of the body which is poured into the blood to act on the target organ of an individual. Synapse কি? Synapse is a point of contact between the terminal branches of the axon of another neuron separated by a fine gap.